Fast drafting my work in progress day 23 did not go quite as well as yesterday, but I did get probably around 2,000 words, so I'm happy with that, especially considering I got started so late in the day. I had my meeting with the Authors Together group, or CAT, this morning, and we were discussing future meetings and the types of things we want to discuss specifically related to marketing our books. We are authors, women authors, who are over 50 years of age, and I think we all write books that are about or for women in our age group. So it is a good idea, and I feel very happy that I found this group because I'm actually one of the early members for a change, and that's nice since I always feel like I'm lagging behind people when I'm always one of the last people to adopt a social media platform, for example, before it decides to tank. I always feel like I'm at the end of the race for some reason, and for the first time, maybe ever, I actually feel like I'm on the ground floor of something, and that's exciting. So I'm looking forward to working with them to help promote the books written by the other members of the group, but I'm hoping that also will help me market my own books because it's definitely a collaborative effort. We cannot do this on our own. There's really no way. And the person who was presenting today was talking about word of mouth and how important that is. She does spend a small amount on Facebook advertising, but otherwise she prefers not to pay to market her books, and I understand that completely. It can be very expensive, and there's really not a lot of return on that expense. So I'm hopeful that this group will help us do that, a lot of organic marketing without having to put out a lot of money. I'm hoping it'll be something of a marketing collaborative, you might say. So that took up a bit of time this morning. And then since I wasn't up early enough, well, I was up early, but I wasn't awake enough to start working before the meeting. I really didn't get started until mid-afternoon. So the fact that I got a couple thousand words done is pretty good. And that takes me to the 40,000 word point. So if this is going to be about a 50,000 word book, I got about 10,000 to go. I'm up to August of 1864. Things are coming to a head, so to speak, because the Constitutional Convention happened in July of 1864, so that's over. The citizens of Nevada Territory would be voting on the Constitution, or the proposed Constitution, on September 7th. So I haven't quite reached that point yet. But I'm working through some of the personal things that are happening to my main character. And she's, as I mentioned, she was going through a very rough time based on, family and the Civil War and all of that. So she's in a place where she has to make some very difficult decisions, and she's not sure what's going to happen going forward. And it's all happening in the tumultuous times of the Civil War, even though most of that's happening in the East. But there are still sympathizers in Nevada Territory at that time, and she's still dealing with the trauma of some of the things that she experienced before she arrived. So it's fun to work through all of that drama and try to figure out how I'm going to resolve it and try to maintain the historic context that is happening around her. So I continue to mention what battles are happening in the East, what's going on in Nevada, things that are going on in California. It's about the Nevada Constitutional Convention, but it's also putting it in the larger context of what's happening in the rest of the country as well. And it is a pretty delicate balancing act. So I hope I'm giving everything its proper due, I guess, and that it will be well balanced and really interesting in the end. And I'm already up to chapter 18, I believe. I think I'm just starting chapter 18 out of 21 planned chapters. So I've got about 3 chapters, about 10,000 words, and 3 months to cover. So we'll see how all of that plays out. And so today is April 28th, 2026. We've got 2 more days in the month, and in 3 days, I will be getting Restless Spirits Book 2 back from my editor. So we'll see. Can I write 5,000 words a day for the next 2 days and complete the 3 chapters? Maybe. I mean, I wrote over 4,000 words yesterday, so it is possible. If I actually get up and settle down to work right away, I may be able to do that and get this book wrapped up by Thursday afternoon. So I'm going to keep pushing and see what I can manage to accomplish in the next couple of days. And hopefully, the weather won't affect me too much because we're having one of those days where it feels heavy and oppressive, like there's a storm coming, but nothing is forecast. And I think that's affecting my productivity because on days like this, I have a hard time concentrating. It feels, like I said, it's heavy and oppressive. So it's hard for me to just sit down and focus when I'm kind of wondering what's going to happen. Thankfully, we haven't had any noticeable earthquakes lately. We do still seem to be having aftershocks, but they're not big enough to be felt. And it's been quite the swarm. So I think there were several last night, but again, I didn't feel them, so that's not bothering me. But who knows? Maybe on a subconscious level, I'm sensing it, and that's kind of adding to the feelings that I'm having about the weather. I'm so sensitive to things sometimes. It's also been challenging because there's some construction going on in the area, and they've closed one of the nearby roads and directed traffic down our street. And our street, it gets a decent amount of traffic, but it's usually a lot quieter than it has been. And I can hear the construction noise because it's so close, plus the traffic noise. And today a truck came by. I think it was one of our city trucks with some of the cones, the orange cones, to block off the road. And they were making quite the racket out in front of my house. So it seems like every time I try to sit down to write, something is going to try to distract me. And I'm really trying not to let it. But this is going to be a definite learning process because it's something I dealt with when I worked my day job as well. I actually sat in the back corner of the office, so I didn't have a lot of people walking back and forth, but I was also located near the freight elevator, which has been out of commission for years at this point. They still have not gotten it up and running again. But when it did run, it was so noisy. I would hear the rattle of the cage, and it had a buzzer, and it was very loud and obnoxious. So I would be working quietly on something, and all of a sudden would hear that and jump out of my skin. And otherwise, sitting back in that corner allowed me to be a lot more productive than I would have been sitting out in a more open area. My only issue was I got to the point where people kept coming to me with questions because I had so much institutional knowledge of the office that, as a senior member of the staff, everybody wants to know what you know, how to do something, and everything. So I was frequently distracted from my tasks. And that just seems to keep happening. And it doesn't help that when somebody starts talking, even if they're not talking to me, my ears kind of perk up because it always feels like I should be paying attention. So, yeah, the challenges of being a person who can't concentrate really well. Oh, and speaking of distractions, the next door neighbor is out on a skateboard. My office up here looks down onto the street, so I can, if you see me looking off to the side, it's because something is going by. And if you've ever seen the Disney movie Up, there's that dog named Doug who's always doing something, and then it's like squirrel. That's me, very easily distracted. But I'm going to try to avoid that for the next 2 days. Going to really buckle down. My goal is hopefully 5,000 words a day to at least get that 10,000. Finish those 3 chapters, and hopefully that will wrap up the book. I'm so close. I've got that itch. I kind of want to just go down and keep writing tonight, but that is not a great idea. One of the things that I don't think I've mentioned is that one of the reasons I tend to stop writing several hours before bed is that my mind gets going so much that I start actually having these really strange dreams. And this has been happening for the last few weeks. Even though I'm not working too close to bedtime, I'm still having the most active dreams, probably because everything's churned up in my mind. And I've been waking up in the morning and telling JT about all my weird, random, like, guest stars, you might say, who've been showing up in my dreams. And it's just, they're always so vivid, but they make no sense whatsoever. So when I'm not deep in a project, I don't quite have as many intense dreams. They tend to be more what I would consider normal dreams about family or, maybe a memory of something or trying to figure out something that happened through the course of the day. Whereas when I'm deep into writing, my dreams are so bizarre. And I have had dreams in the past that I have turned into stories. And there was one that I actually turned into a full book. So, um, the subconscious mind is a strange thing. And that's why I tend to cut my day between 6 and 7 p.m. and take a couple hours, watch some TV, play some games, try not to think too heavily about what I'm writing, because otherwise my nights are just going to be very wild. And that's definitely been the case for the past few nights. So we'll see what happens when I get this book done. If things calm down again and I go back to my regularly scheduled dreams. But speaking of dreams, I've also been feeling the kind of that itch that something that I'm dreaming about happening. And I'm not talking about the nighttime dreams, but something that I would like to have happen. I've got that really anxious, itchy feeling that something big is going to happen. And I've been having it off and on for a while, but in the last few days, it's been really strong. So I'm hopeful that maybe my subconscious is thinking that my book will be good enough that I'll finally actually get somewhere with it and actually find some followers. And, it doesn't have to be a ton of people, but I think this book will be a bit of a turning point in my writing career. Whether good or bad, I'm not sure yet, but if it takes off, it will definitely lead me to some opportunities that I've kind of had in the back of my mind. And I think maybe in some ways I'm a little bit afraid of them because even though I want to achieve success, obviously writing books and just publishing books is successful, but another level of success, I think maybe I'm a little bit afraid of that. So definitely been having some of those itchy, anxious feelings about something big coming. What it is and when it might happen, I'm not sure yet, but we'll see. I do feel like another level of my dreams may be about to come true because obviously, as I've said before, I am living my dream right now. I got to retire from my job and I'm writing full time. I mean, that's been my dream for many, many years, and I'm very happy to be doing it. So I'm kind of on the fence about achieving a next level of success because I'm very comfortable in what I'm doing right now, but I also feel like I could be doing a little bit more. So we'll see how that plays out throughout the rest of the year. It's a little bit how I felt when I started doing these daily YouTube videos because I wasn't sure if they would take off or if I would have my continued level of people not really paying much attention, which definitely seems to have been the case. And again, that may be something subconscious on my part, that maybe I'm not willing to take things to the next level because I'm afraid of what might happen if I do. And that's also something that JT and I were talking about the other night, because I did that video about my brush with traditional publishing. And he made the comment that he wondered if we would still be married if that had happened, because I was trying to not only get published by one of the big publishing houses, but I was trying to get kind of internships in Hollywood. And, that probably wasn't the brightest thing to be doing as a wife and mother, because I knew they were not going to move to Southern California with me. So I'm wondering if some of the reasons I didn't achieve what I hoped to at that point was because I knew it maybe would not have taken my life in the direction I wanted. And I might be in a similar position now, though I don't think JT and I would have any problems if either one of us were to achieve success at this point, because we are much more flexible in what we can do. And we're also both pretty old and tired. So, if we achieve any type of financial success, any kind of recognition, I'm sure at this point what we would probably do is pay off our house, get it fixed up a little bit, because there are a couple of things we'd like to do. Hire some people to help take some of the load off, maybe hire a marketing team. We don't have the huge dreams that we used to have. We're comfortable, but we'd like to be just a tiny bit more comfortable. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that, because, sometimes the really big dreams, like being a jet-setting superstar, aren't really all that they're cracked up to be. Anyway, that got me off on quite the tangent today, but the whole point of this video was that I did have a good day, not quite as good as yesterday. So I got around 2,000 versus the 4,000, about half, which was not surprising considering that I did not get to work until probably around 2 o'clock this afternoon. So getting that much done actually was pretty good. I'm looking forward to the next 2 days, hopefully 5,000 words a day-ish, 3 chapters, and trying to wrap up Battleborn Bride, because I'm getting down there. Like I said, August 1864. Nevada achieved statehood at the end of October of 1864. And we'll see if I decide to throw in a little additional information after that. But I hope you'll follow along for at least the next couple of days to see how well this goes. And then probably on Friday, we'll be shifting back to my editing my work in progress playlist as I get back to work on Restless Spirits Book 2. I thank you for joining me. I hope you are having a wonderful day, and I will talk to you again tomorrow. I'm Cassidy Carson, and this is The Life of a Writer. Take care.